PSG have just beaten Inter Milan 5-0 in the Champions League final. I can't believe what I'm saying. It's one of the highest standard Champions League victories in the history of the competition. Not just in the modern era. We've never seen it. We've seen a few sevens in the 1960s, but 5-0, a clean sheet, an absolute drubbing of a side that have won the Champions League so many times in their own right to win your first Champions League trophy. Beating a side like Inter Milan with their experience, with their nous, with their pragmatism. 5-0? What planet are we living on? I'm just going to say it from the outset. We're living on a Buvey planet. This is Buvey and Yamal's footballing world. In the next 5 to 10 years, these guys are the future of football. At the moment, Salah, Dembele, fantastic footballers, of course. But they're in the back end of their 20s. In the next 5 to 10 years, their prime years, I think Buvey will be the best player in the world. Alongside Yamal, we can debate who will win more Ballon d'Ors. It is Messi versus Ronaldo for these two, in my honest opinion. Before I even talk about the goals, Buvey's doing flicks that I've not seen since Ronaldinho in 2005 when he won the Ballon d'Or, 2006. Little flicks on the right-hand side when PSG were already a couple of goals up. These kind of unbelievable elements of skill. And then he's got a brace in a Champions League final as young as nearly anyone in the history of the competition since Patrick Kluivert. It's absolutely sensational. Luis Enrique has built one of the most entertaining, well-balanced, dominating sides, again, in the history of the competition. This PSG side ranks in the pantheon of some of the greatest sides to ever win it. Not every side who wins the Champions League is a great. Let's say, as an example, Chelsea in 2021, maybe Porto in 2004. Not the top tier. This PSG side, if they keep going in the next few years, will be one of the greatest sides in European football. Seriously, they're so young, they're so agile, and they've absolutely brutalized Inter Milan today. We're going to talk about all the goals. Leave your comments down below. Any initial thoughts about the Champions League final. Make sure you subscribe. We would really appreciate it. And like the video. We have to start off at the first 5 to 10 minutes. It was all PSG. There was a moment where they must have had the ball for about 4 or 5 minutes straight. Inter Milan's setup was so negative. It was so defensive. It looked pragmatic. It looks exciting when you're playing against maybe a naivety around Barcelona, against a Bayern Munich side that you can kind of get at. But when you play top level opposition, a back five, it's just you versus them. You're almost parking the bus and hoping that they don't score so you can hit them with some sort of counter-attack. It's far too negative in modern football to win a Champions League with a back five with 2 strikers and an aged midfield, in my honest opinion. A Vitinha little inverted ball into Buvey, I think it is, who gets an assist as well in the opening minutes of the game. Hakimi, who has to be one of the great fullbacks in modern football. He's scored, it feels like, in almost every round of the competition. He is a natural finisher. He gets into the box. He's got unbelievable pace. Mendes, relatively speaking, had a quiet game today because he wasn't really asked to do anything defensively speaking. But Hakimi, one of the most important goals he'll ever score in his life, breaking the deadlock and essentially creating the winning foundation for PSG to go on and win their first Champions League. It was a beautiful goal, well worked, and it was a tap-in. They're scoring tap-ins against a back five, an Inter Milan side that are fantastic defensively. All tournament, they're so organised and rugged and robust, and they split them open in 12 minutes. And that was their right back arriving in the box. It's outrageous. Buvey gets his first 20 minutes in. It's a bit of a deflected strike, but it's still a great effort because he hits it low, he hits it hard, and it is on target. So it's a deflected effort that makes it 2-0. At that point, it is game over. I actually thought it was game over in the first 5 minutes, even when it was 0-0. Just the way both sides approached the game, how high up PSG were able to get with the ball. I've never seen... Because Inter Milan are playing for their lives. They're playing to win their first Champions League in many, many years. To be the first Italian side to win the Champions League in many, many years. You shouldn't be able to cut them open that easily. And I think it's down to the quality of Paris Saint-Germain, if you like my French. That's shocking. The third goal is one of the highest quality goals I've ever seen in Champions League football history. I know I keep using all these big words, but it really is. Dembele gets Vitinha drives with the ball. He gives it into Dembele. Dembele, a little touch, and then a back heel kind of little cushioned roll back heel into the path of, I think it's Vitinha again, who plays it into Buvey first time. And the first time bends it around the keeper, Jan Sommer. It is absolutely outrageous, the finish. The first time technical brilliance of Buvey to do that in one of the most nerve-wracking moments in your entire footballing career. First time pass into the net. It's outrageous. Dembele into Kvaratskhelia, who gets it on his left foot and makes it 4-0. Of course, there's a ridiculous arbitrary VAR check for every one of these goals, by the way. Dembele today didn't score, but he was the orchestrator. He was the architect of all these big moments for PSG. And being a French national, kind of brought in to kind of be that Mbappe replacement. Big name at Barcelona. Didn't work, of course. And the fact that he's picked up a Champions League, which he couldn't quite do it at Barcelona, and obviously Mbappe couldn't do it at PSG. It's a beautiful story in the French national kind of pantheon of French footballers to win a Champions League with a French side. Obviously, there aren't many. There's only one side before them, and we're talking Papin, we're talking Deschamps. So the fact that PSG have won a Champions League and the star talisman player that's brought all these other players into life, Buvey, Kvaratskhelia, all these other guys, is a French international, Dembele. It is very, very exciting, particularly going into a World Cup next summer as well. Scary if you're not a France football fan. Barcola nearly scores one of the best goals you're ever going to see in your life. If he'd scored that rollover, we're talking FIFA Street 2. We're talking a 5-star skill move. It is one of the highest standard goals I would have ever seen. He just missed it, but he was brilliant when he came on. And then we've got a young kid, Mailu, who still isn't younger than Patrick Kluivert when he scored in the Champions League final for Ajax, I think it was, making it 5-0. Like, 5-0. You don't win 5-0 probably once or twice in an entire season when you're playing Stoke City. Like, do you know what I mean? Or Swansea City. I mean, you just don't win games 5-0 that often. To do it at this level against an Italian pragmatic side, it's a damning indictment on this season for Inter Milan. I really do believe it. You have to win one of three. If you're going deep in the Coppa Italia, if you're going deep in the league title, you're dropping points to a Roma side that have been invigorated in the back end of this season, but poor relatively to be needing to beat them, and Lazio and AC Milan in the cup, and then you're talking about 5 in the Champions League final. The way they approached this final, the way they conducted themselves. I know the system worked against Barcelona. It was always end to end, and you feel that maybe Barcelona versus PSG maybe was more conducive to what the actual Champions League should have been in terms of the two best sides. Maybe that's an argument. If it was Arsenal, it wouldn't have been. I think Barcelona, one of the highest scoring sides in Europe this season. Inter did a job on them, but it didn't work today. You can't win major silverware with a back three. You can't. You need more control in midfield. You need to go toe-to-toe with the other side and be better on the ball and more dynamic. You can't have Dumfries and DeMarco. And I know it's a little bit captain hindsight, but you need more than that in modern football. Luis Enrique, just to wrap, goes into the pantheon of some of the greatest managers in the history of football. He's now won 2 different trebles. Inter Milan have given 4 different sides trebles when they lose Champions League finals. Ajax, Celtic, Manchester City, and now PSG across the last 60 years of football, which is absolutely incredible when you think about it. And Luis Enrique has now won a treble with Barcelona, a treble with PSG, and created some of the most fearsome club sides I've ever seen in my life. Surely now in the top 2 great managers in world football. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you very much for watching and back in the channel this season. Obviously, I'll be doing tons of content throughout the summer, so make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you very, very soon.